Today marks 1479 days share lessons I learned and continue to learn with you. Well, I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about why it's so easy to judge. Why is it easy to really judge other people? I think it's very, very easy to get into that judging mode. And I think that it's very hard sometimes to get out of it. When you start, it's easy to because it's comfortable to do that. It's comfortable to judge. Today I will share a couple of things, probably five or six things. So why it's so easy to judge and why we're supposed to really look into to empathy rather than judgment. So number one is just judgment hides fear of vulnerability. What it means is that when people judge someone, most timely when you judge someone, you are placing yourself above in a superior in moral ways, in skill ways, in a lot of different ways. We might be like how he could not understand that, how he could not understand that, that again judging their understanding. And it's like I know that, but they don't know. And the skill set as well. Like it's a very interesting thing when we develop our own skill, when we do not know what to do, it seems it's just natural. But when someone doesn't know what you learned, it seems that it's just they beneath, they are inferior, and you are superior. And I think that's again being able to be vulnerable, saying that this I been in that place. And I think that sometimes we forget that we've been in that place as well. Maybe not in one skill set, but in something else. Because if you are good at something, most likely you're not good at something. So judgment hides fear or vulnerability because it says that I cannot be inferior. I want to be superior. Number two, your brain literally rewards judgment. And it's interesting that neuroscience says that judgment activates default mode network. And that's as a lot of times we need to understand that it's judgment is part of our neural network, that the way how we wired. And if we rewire, that means that sometimes we need to rewire it, and that means that those networks that are wired will need to be worked through. That means that we need to rewire ourselves. And knowing that that's the habit of our neural reward system, that means that okay, like knowing that our even brains is against us. But again, it says that judgment is automatic, but empathy is manual. So that means knowing that judgment is automatic, we need to always move out of automatic and from default mode and really start living at design mode of really empathy. I think that the more you really change that, the more you are aware that you are judging, and the more you're able to really transform. When I start to feel that I'm judged, I then include empathy. And that means that allows us to really rewire our brain. Number three, it's a lazy substitute for connection. Because it's interesting that when someone did something that you do not understand, the easiest way to do is judge. We judge their intentions, their capacities, everything you can judge. But when you look into empathy, empathy requires time, thinking. It requires humility, humbleness. That means that judgment skips all of that. And I know exactly what's going on. That person didn't care. That person doesn't know. That person is a loser. Doesn't have IQ. That means we have so many judgments we can put in very short period of time. It skips all the empathy, trying to understand and putting ourselves in their other person's shoes. So judgment is a shortcut. A shortcut. And a lot of times when we are struggling with our own life, of course we want shortcuts. That means that the more sometimes when we take care of ourselves better, when we have more energy, we are less judgmental because we have more energy to put in to understand other people. Number four is judgment is emotional camouflage. And it's because when you are uncomfortable, when you're insecure, when you're uncertain, when you're ashamed, your brain a lot of times project your insecurities, you project your discomfort outward. And that discomfort outward is judgment. And it might be it's easier than really admit that someone is doing something right or for something wrong. And I think that sometimes we judge other person because deep down we judge ourselves as well. And it's emotional camouflage because if we judge ourselves, we don't want to judge ourselves, so we will judge someone else. And this is a very, very common experience for people. Project everything. And judgment is one of those things that we can project on other people. Number 5 is that society trains us to do that. Society trains into this. So many places where we are in comparison mode, grades, followers, salaries, everything is about comparing ourselves. And then when you compare ourselves, of course, that moment increases desire to judge because we want to be above or below, and we don't want to be below. But when you really don't compare on those kind of things, you don't need to judge because everyone is equal. So that means that when we start to really look into comparisons, a lot of times those comparisons really fuel judgments. And I think that's, again, when you feel that you are behind, you will start to feel that you need to judge just to start to feel that at least at something, you are doing better than someone else. And I think that's the most important part. I think a lot of times judgment is coming just from ego itself because we want to really boost that ego. We don't want to really be behind because people have a tendency to feel always that they are behind. But when you start to really judge and say, "Oh, this person, look, this person is even worse than me," and I think that that's what we are always looking. But rather than looking to that we are better than someone else, we can always ask, okay, who is doing better than me? Who is doing better than me? And how we could really get a conversation with a person and being able to really look into rather than to what to judge, who could potentially mentor me to be better, to allow me to develop my energy, my finances, my relations, my connections, my mindset. So I don't need to judge anyone because when you are in peace with yourself, when you love yourself, you don't need to judge anyone. I know that it's easy to judge some of this ourselves, and we need to develop ability to love ourselves rather than hate ourselves, rather than disliking ourselves. Somebody said like, I like the way I am. I have total peace. I have present, and because of that, I'm able to really allow other people to bring their wholeness into my life, their insecurities into their awareness, and I will be able to understand. I will try to put myself in other person's shoes and really not judge. And I think that one of the key aspects I want to mention last thing before I go is that when we judge, because sometimes judgment is important, but what we need to learn is judge behaviors, judge ideas, judge thoughts, not a person. That's a big, big, big thing. Because when someone has a bad idea, or in your mind, in your perspective, has a bad idea, bad thought, because sometimes we could attach that this person is bad because he has a bad thought. I think that sometimes even behavior sometimes is harder to distinguish. But as I am, if a person did a bad thing because he was misguided, maybe we do not know. So rather than really labeling a person as a bad person, as a robber, as a thief, as a person who is you are not able to change. Trying to say like, oh, this person did this behavior. I judge this behavior and look into maybe he can change this person. Maybe that person is good inside, but he just didn't know what is right and what's wrong. And being able to really not judge but really understand allows us to really give other person a chance rather than neglecting altogether. I think that if we actually learn to judge behaviors, not the person, I think that life and connections would be so much more beautiful. So I hope you reflect about judgment because this is extremely important topic because it's allowed to develop deeper connections with people because you do not judge and people do not like to be judged, even though that we have a tendency to do that. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.